talking all about puberty, the basics of puberty. Can anyone tell me what is puberty? What's the definition of puberty? Anyone? Does anyone want to tell me? No? Okay, that's okay. So, the definition of puberty, we're going to get the actual definition, is when a time when a person's body, girl or boy, feelings and relationships change from a child into an adult. So, when we think of puberty, we think of all of these physical changes that happen, which are the most noticeable to most people that are going through it. But it's not just physical changes, we have a lot of internal changes that are going on. And that's due to a hormonal system that starts to rev up and starts really producing these hormones that causes these changes in our body. And it's a little gland in our brains called the pituitary gland. In girls, we start to see an increase of a hormone called estrogen. And in boys, we see an increase of a hormone called testosterone. And we're going to go in and talk a little bit about what are the different changes that happen when we see a higher level of estrogen and then higher levels of testosterone. Okay, so let's see, we've gone through our definition. Okay, let's talk about some places that we may learn about puberty. So you can learn about it from your teachers, maybe your doctors, or another trusted adult, maybe school or books that you read. It's 2020, so we see things on the internet, and of course, our friends. So we have to be sure that we're getting our information from trusted sources. And although our friends may know a lot about some things, we want to make sure we're getting our information from other adults that know a little bit more about these things. So, of course, doctors and trusted adults like teachers, parents, things like that. So, and also, we can't trust everything that we see on the internet. It has to be a trusted source. So, one of the first things that we want to know about puberty is that it is completely normal and everyone goes through puberty. And so we have these changes that are happening in our bodies, in our minds, and they can be uncomfortable, they can be strange, but it's good to know as these things are happening that it's completely normal and it's to be expected. So for girls, we'll start with girls. For girls, we start to see puberty happen around the ages of 8 to 13. That's a big gap. And for boys, it's around 10 to 16. And so if you notice, girls will hit puberty faster than boys do, or sooner than boys do. Also, we should know that puberty lasts, it's not quick, it can last from 2 to 5 years where our bodies are going through these changes. Let's see. So, okay, girls' changes that we see. So we're having the release of the hormone estrogen. And one of the biggest things that happens when we start to see this increase of estrogen is girls start to get their monthly cycles. Okay, and then with that, we have ovulation, and then we have menstruation. And ovulation is so I'll back up a little bit. Girls are born with all of the eggs that they're going to have for the rest of their lives. But not until we hit puberty do we see us dropping, for lack of a better word, dropping these eggs into our uterus, into our fallopian tubes and things like that. Then we start to get, so when an egg is not fertilized, which means we're not growing a baby, then comes menstruation. And this cycle is usually about 30 days long for a female, and it varies. You know, some women have shorter cycles, some have longer, but we have the ovulation and menstruation. And also, once this begins, you are able to produce a child. So that's also important to know. This cycle is once a month, but that is not the only change that girls go through. Oh, and then also menstruation lasts between 3 to 7 days. That also varies as well for every woman. So some of the other changes that girls go through, since cycle has started, we go through a thing called PMS, which is premenstrual syndrome. And this is all caused by the hormone changes as well. So we might start to see mood swings and things like that. But also, let me go to here we go. So we have the increase of estrogen, and then we might produce acne. We may perspire more, so we're sweating more. Hair will start growing, so we'll get the underarm hair or pubic hair. The body will grow taller. So the same hormones that are responsible for our cycle and hair growing, they're also responsible for our bodies getting taller. And then breasts will develop, same hormone. And then also the pubic hair, the voice changes. We hear the voice changes in boys. It's a lot more noticeable, but girls go through a voice change as well. And then as far as we will go into, let's go into boys and their changes. So boys are producing more of the hormone testosterone. And also I will even note that girls produce testosterone as well, and boys produce estrogen as well, but the levels are so significantly different. We go through different changes. So testosterone in boys. Let me go back to my notes 1 second. Okay, so in boys, the testicles start to produce sperm, which is the male reproductive cells. So females have the eggs and males have sperm. The penis can become erect due to cold or the urge to urinate or during sleep, completely normal. There's also something that boys and girls go through, but more noticeable in boys due to the way we are made up, but wet dreams, completely normal. With girls, we produce our lubrication in the inside of the vagina, so it's not as noticeable in girls as it is in boys, but again, completely normal. Let's talk about some of the other changes that boys go through. Okay, so boys also start to grow body hair, pubic area, underarms, facial hair. Boys will start to grow their facial hair. Also develop acne. So we all go through that acne stage in early puberty. Also perspire more. Now, again, with us producing different levels of these hormones, boys are usually more likely to sweat more than girls. Also growing taller, same hormones responsible for growing taller. Go back to girls quickly. Our hips will widen as a part of puberty. And then with boys, the shoulders will broaden, okay? And then also the voice change, the voice gets deeper. Again, it happens in girls, but more noticeable in boys. And also during this time, the penis is growing. So some important things to note on how to deal and cope with puberty, or things that you may be introduced to during puberty. I have a few things here. So, hygiene is very important during and after puberty. It's important before, but it's even more important after or during. So here I have a washcloth and soap. Very important that we are cleansing our bodies head to toe regularly. Because keep in mind, we're perspiring or sweating more. And we're growing body hair. These things can hold in smells. So it's very important to keep clean. And then we also have deodorant. We will be introduced to deodorant, so that's also important. Flossing and brushing. Preferably the string floss, but you get the idea. Flossing and brushing, very important. In girls, oh, no. Okay, this is a pair of socks. Again, keep in mind, we are starting to sweat more, and boys a little bit more than girls. It is so important to make sure that we are wearing clean socks, changing our socks regularly, washing our feet regularly, because it is so easy to get stinky feet. So easy. And you're not the only one that can smell it, I promise. So let's go into, we'll go back to menstruation. So in girls, we go through menstruation, and some of the things that we'll be introduced to are pads. I don't have a sample, but tampons are also something. And then another option that we don't hear about often, we have cloth pads are an option, as well as menstrual cups. So tons of options for females in their menstrual cycles. And then also, we are getting the body hair. So we might get introduced to body hair removal. We've got cream, they've got everything on the market. We've got creams, we've got razors. And this one might be a little bit more familiar for the guys. We start shaving that facial hair, okay? And then also important, probably one of the most important things is nutrition during puberty, okay? So making sure we're eating whole foods and drinking plenty of water. Very important to help you as you go through life's early changes. Let's see. Okay. I think I've touched on all my points. I feel like I went through them a bit faster. Let's see. Yeah, I feel like I touched on all my spots. That was what, 20 minutes?
It was.
Okay, that was a little faster than you'd like.
It's okay. It's okay. This is totally trial and error too. We're all learning.
Okay.
So, do you guys have any questions for her? Allie's trying to pretend to be a little angel, if you notice her.
I see that.
I'm gonna stop recording.